Welcome in for another edition of the Morning Espresso here on the SDH Network, brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. I'm Jason Longshore. This is all the soccer news you need to know for Tuesday, February 11th. The United States U17 national team beat the U.S. Virgin Islands last night, opening game of qualifying for the November U17 World Cup in Qatar. It was not a difficult test for the United States. They ended up winning 22-0. That scoreline, that tally, 22 goals, the most ever for a U.S. national team, men or women, at any level in a World Cup qualifier. The previous record was a 20-0 win over Grenada at the Women's U17 Championship in 2022. Chase Adams, he scored 7 goals in the first half, 3 in the second half, 10 goals in total, more than tripled the record for a goal scoring tally by an American player in U17 men's qualifying. 4 players had a hat trick in the past, Gio Reyna, the last one in 2019. Adams is 16 years old. He scored 10 goals in 22 games during the Columbus Crew 2's MLS Next Pro semifinal run last year. In 2022, as a freshman, he had 22 goals and 19 assists for Naperville Central High School in Illinois. Maybe Chicago should have had him as a homegrown. He ends up in Columbus with Crew 2, and now he's on everybody's radar after putting up 10 in a World Cup qualifier. Gonzalo Segares is the manager of this team. They play St. Kitts and Nevis on Wednesday, Cuba on Saturday. The winner of the group qualifies for the expanded 2025 U17 World Cup. 8 qualifying groups in total, 7 other ones. I think the U.S. should be okay. 2 more games to go. Moves around MLS. Colorado Rapids, they acquired Ted Ku-DiPietro officially from DC United. It's another one of the new cash for player deals. 1.125 million up to an additional 275,000 based on performance. Future sell-on percentage stays with DC. This is a really nice move, and I think this is another side of this kind of ability to make these moves in Major League Soccer. And look, Colorado's been a team that has done a really good job of adding players that, for whatever reason, didn't fit in at their other MLS clubs, whether they just weren't quite a fit tactically, whether they had, sort of passed their, I don't know, they thought they were going to make a move to Europe and be an asset there. So the team decided to move them to Colorado and pick up assets, but maybe not as much as they thought they were going to get. Whatever reason, Colorado is a team to watch in the way that they do this. And we can yell about spending and how every team should be spending all the money they possibly have. And we can try to, spend other people's money all we want. But Colorado's showing that there is another way. They've got to find some success with it. But I do like the group that they've put together, and I think they're a team to potentially watch in 2025. San Diego, they have signed Willy Kumado from the Danish First Division. He's a right back. He's on a 2-year deal, options for 2027 and 28. Tom Bogert, he's reporting that Joseph Paintsil is going to be out for over a month, an injury to his quadriceps. That hurts the LA Galaxy, who are already dealing with a lot of injuries and also dealing with departures and also dealing with reportedly trying to explain to Marco Royce how salary caps work and why the Galaxy have had to move on from so many different players. It's a little confusing if you're not used to it, but yes, it's going to be a challenge for the LA Galaxy. We will see how they handle it. Luciano Acosta, it's been a challenge for a lot of teams involved in Luciano Acosta right now. He has a no-trade clause, according to Laurel Fowler of the Queen City Press. He's going to have to approve of a move within MLS. I guess he could still go to Brazil if somebody wanted to come in for him there, but we haven't heard of any rumors. Dallas and San Jose are the 2 clubs that are interested in getting Acosta, according to multiple reports. The reason why this is complicated is Evander leaving Portland. Everyone's assumed he was going to go to Cincinnati. Everyone assumed this when Acosta was going to go to Estudiantes and Foster Gillette was going to cut a check. Well, I guess he hasn't. He didn't. And maybe he hasn't cut any other checks. I don't know what's going on with Foster Gillette these days. He might have gone missing. But Evander leaving Portland, now that's held up in all this. Everybody's saying we want to get a resolution here soon. But if Lucho has a no trade clause, then this might be even more complicated than anyone has assumed. So just buckle up, Cincinnati and Portland and maybe San Jose and maybe Dallas and who knows who else. There's also rumors swirling about LAFC winger Christian Oliveira. Tom Bogert reporting that LAFC have rejected opening bids from Gremio for him. Reports in the Brazilian press say that Gremio is going to get him. Stay tuned. USL Championship side Miami FC, the Miami FC, sorry, apologies to Miami FC. They are the Miami FC. They have signed former U.S. men's national team and DC United goalkeeper Bill Hamid. Chloe Kelly, remember, this was a deadline day bit of drama where she was kind of frozen out at Manchester City, ended up moving to Arsenal on the deadline day. She has been dropped by Serena Wiegman for the latest English women's national team squad for upcoming Nations League matches against Portugal and Spain. 27 years old, she scored the match winner in the Euro 2022 victory for England. She's going to be left out of this. She's only played 117 minutes of football since the last fixtures last year or in November. So not a whole lot of playing time, and she's been left out of this national team squad. Fiorentina and Italy striker Moise Kean published online racist abuse received in the aftermath of Fiorentina's loss to Inter on Monday. He posted screenshots of insulting messages, pictures, and names of the racist users who were sending him these messages. Fiorentina have announced they would take action and report to local authorities those targeting Moise Kean with racist messages. Other clubs have expressed support to Moise Kean and Fiorentina in this. Like I've said, every time this has come up here recently, and it will continue to because it's just kind of the world we're living in, right? If these people are Fiorentina supporters, well, no, they're not. They're liars. They're not, because they're not supporting a player in the team. If they are season ticket holders, they should not be anymore. The club should revoke their tickets. The club should ban these people from attending games. And yeah, messages have to be sent. They should not be allowed. And don't give me the argument about, well, they'll find another way. Make them find another way. Absolutely make them find another way. Make them jump through hoops. Make them wear disguises going into the stadium. Make them have to work for it if they're going to do it. Don't just give up because they can find another way. Make them find that other way. This is ridiculous. This is going to continue, sadly, but you have to make an example of this. And I hope Fiorentina will, if these are so-called Fiorentina supporters who are doing this. All right, let's get into Champions League. The knockout round playoff for the first time. We're into this mode. 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. The big one today is Manchester City and Real Madrid. This is being called the modern Classico because they seem to play each other all the time now. City are unbeaten at the Etihad this year. They've scored at least 3 goals in each game, but they've been eliminated from the knockout stages in the Champions League by Real Madrid more often than any other opponent. Madrid, they're missing their starting center backs. They don't have any right backs available. Reports out of Spain have them moving Ferland Mendy from left back to right back. Tchouameni will start alongside Raul Asensio. That's going to be your center back duo, and Fran Garcia at left back. On the other side, Manchester City, they get Ederson, their goalkeeper, back in training on Monday. They get Nico Gonzalez, who was subbed out due to a knock in the FA Cup win over the weekend. They get Jeremy Doku. They get Nathan Ake. They get Mateus Nunes back in training on Monday. We'll see how much any of those can play. We'll see what Madrid's back line, that is going to be very makeshift, looks like. Everyone will be looking at that game. But there's 3 others as well. Juventus, PSV. Juve are at risk of losing 3 home games in a single Champions League campaign for the first time ever. PSV are on a 6-match unbeaten run. That one will be in Turin for the first leg. Sporting Lisbon hosting Borussia Dortmund. Sporting have not won in Champions League since Ruben Amorim left. Dortmund, they've suffered 5 defeats in their last 8 games in all competitions, and they have a new manager. PSG, they're favorites in an all-French tie versus Brest. PSG have won 30 consecutive games against Brest in all competitions. Here's one to think about. Legendary Italian referee Pierluigi Collina. He believes that the penalty kick rule should be changed, not allowing the penalty taker to get on the rebound after a goalkeeper save. Now, if it comes off the post, they can't get on it. But if it comes off of the goalkeeper, They can. And how many times do we see the goalkeeper make a great save, comes back to the guy who took the kick, he just puts it home? Colina said, I believe there is an excessive gap between the opportunities available to the attacker and those of the goalkeeper. I 100% agree with him. I'd never really thought about this before, but Pierluigi Collina, I think, has a very good suggestion, and I would like to see this enacted. And I know hashtag GK Union is all nodding their heads about this, but I've never really heard a movement about this. There should be. That's a really good rule change. You take the penalty, you can't play it next after the goalkeeper or off of the post. I'm absolutely good with that rule change if they make it. All right, on the SDH Network, tons of stuff to update you on. Check out the Jaden Hibbert 1v1 on the network from yesterday. Madison Cruz and I caught up with him last week down in Bradenton about his first pro season, his expectations for 2025. You can read a little bit about it on soccerdownhere.net as well. Two big upcoming events to save the date for. First, February 20th, our first third Thursday event at the Moxie Hotel in Midtown Atlanta. Great way to kick off the Atlanta United season a couple of days before the opener. That's from 7 to 9 p.m. We'll be at the Moxie every third Thursday of every month this year. And then on Monday, February 24th, our first event of the Why Atlanta is Soccer City USA series. That's presented by the Rose Library at Emory University. We'll be hosting that in the Jones Room of the Woodruff Library from 6:30 to 8 p.m. that night. Our high school soccer slate starts tonight in Decatur, North Atlanta. The visitors, they're traveling across town to face the Bulldogs of Decatur High School. Girls game kicks off at 6 p.m. The boys kick off at 8 p.m. You can listen at soccerdownhere.mixlr.com. You can click the listen button on soccerdownhere.net as well. That'll take you to the widget. All of our high school soccer coverage is presented by Kaiser Permanente. Be on the lookout later today for a podcast, a 1v1 with Kelly Bowler, the head coach at Johns Creek. The Creek Cup starts tomorrow. We will be covering all of those games from both Johns Creek High School and Northview High School from Wednesday through Saturday night. Going to be a very busy week here on the SDH Network. Hopefully you can join us for some or all of that. If you are a fanatico, thank you for joining. You can do that as well. Make sure you're following us on all your social media platforms, Soccer Down Here, and you will find the instructions on how to join our membership group, where you're going to get lots of discounts at local businesses, local places that you are already supporting, and it's only $10 a year to get into those discounts and to get into our group on the Chant app. Be back on Thursday for another edition of the Morning Espresso. Tonight, I'm on 92.9 The Game with Atlanta Soccer Tonight. You can listen on the radio, obviously, and you can also listen on the Odyssey app. See you guys on Thursday.